Hello, everyone. Norma Powers and Sarah Fernandez here from Life Mastery Magazine. And we are so excited to bring you two guests that we have featured for our magazine this month. We talked about mental health in our magazine, and mental health this year is focusing on mental health in the workspace. And we have Tammy Moore with us and Magdalena. And Magdalena, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name because I know I'm going to mess it up somehow. But I'm very happy to have Tammy and Magdalena here with us to talk about mental health, in the workspace. And they also have a program that they're putting together, which sounds very exciting. So letting you all know where you can access that seminar that they're putting together and how to join them and learn more about mental health. So I'm going to turn it over to both Tammy and Magdalena. Well, let me start with Sarah first. Sarah, do you have any questions or anything you want to say?
I don't. I just want to welcome the ladies and say thank you so much for showing up for us here. And yeah, let's get the show on the road.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Norma. So nice to meet you all. My name is Tammy. And me and Magdalena met a while back, and she approached to me with her vision about putting out a mental health week workshop. And this is something that we're doing on LinkedIn, and we're doing this live, and it's for 3 days from October 8th till October 10th. So we're going to have different guests each day. We're going to have different speakers each day, and we're going to be focusing on 3 main topics, very important topics. And this is really goes together with the mental health in the workspace, because we're focusing on communication strategies in the workspace, leadership, and organizational psychology, and how all of that affects on evolving and the ecosystem of the company. So Magdalena, take the lead and explain everything. You explain your vision the best.
Thank you very much, Tammy, and welcome once again to everyone. Thank you, Norma and Sarah, for having us. And yeah, I think Tammy will join me with the great applause. That's our first success, right, on that journey. So, absolutely. Yes, the vision around the mental health and the leadership for mental health was actually growing in my mind for last few years, where within my work, I was engaged with many teams with various conditions of work, different practices of leadership and management. And I personally love leadership and its impact on people, not on the KPI success for the organizational growth, but people and how leadership with its qualities can actually have amazing positive influence on people growth, not only professionally, but personally. And seeing people with the burnout, seeing people unhappy, unsatisfied, complaining about their teams, about colleagues, about managers. And actually it started so many years ago when first time I had this kind of interaction with one of the employees, that over the 20 years of observation, it is for me very interesting that having the excessive knowledge and access to that knowledge, often for free, we are still having low statistics in terms of employees' well-being at workplace, their level of satisfaction, very low retentions as well. Globally, it's not only, we don't need to focus on special region in the world, but globally. And few years back, I was a part of a huge project around employee well-being, where I was leading the psychological pillar. And the other colleagues, because it was collaborative also project, said the psychology should be presented from the perspective of clinical psychology. So how to avoid depression. Even we have touched subject of suicidal depression. And before we started, I have shared my vision that actually we need to give people knowledge, not the psychological content and what kind of, how to say it, symptoms you should observe in you, and then, oh, you are having a close run to the burnout, but knowledge from the perspective of leadership, in a way how you engage, perceive yourself in your role, because people are getting disconnected by covering themselves with lists of expectations, what organizations should deliver them. And this is the losing point. So right now, as I am founder of VLM, that stands for Vision, Leadership and Management, I was just said, okay, that's the time. That's right, October 2024. And I'm just blessed and honored, because since I got that idea and this vision anchored in me, I am given on my way just right people that are contributing for this success. And most important for me is to share with people, not only leaders, not only with managers, but employees, how these specific three subjects that Tammy was mentioning are one of the fundamental elements that people should be aware of. So that's just in a short way, I can say the background, how I evolved to the place where I am today with you and supported, partnered by Tammy.
Yeah, beautiful vision. Do you think that we're doing enough for our employees? Do you think companies are really taking into consideration mental health in the workspace when it comes to work-life balance, burnout,
I think
issues
there
with
will be,
management? I mean, everything that you just mentioned. And, you know, a little bit of my background is I was in corporate for 33 years working for pharma. And, you know, I can tell you, I hit the burnout, I hit, you know, all of the work-life balance wasn't there for me. You know, everything was just, it was tough. It was tough. And I just don't know. I think since COVID, there's been a lot more that companies are doing in terms of providing a better work-life balance for their employees. But prior to that, there wasn't as much flexibility, where, you know, more employees are allowed to work from home now, where prior to COVID, you had to be in the office and, you know, you were on 24/7. What are your thoughts?
I think it's too complex subject to be quickly replied to. For me, from my own experience, it will be both sides responsible, employees and organization. We are going as an employee, as individuals, we are going through the specific pattern. We go to the school, high school, university, and quite often by gaining the degree, we think we know it all. We have gained the knowledge that will help us to develop the career, but there is a huge element in us we forget, it personal development. And I call it cognitive map. Every individual is having a past that will have an impact on the decisions we take today, how we are perceiving, building the relationship with other people, how we are placing and shaping the expectations, and what is actually our purpose in life. We are often, unfortunately, having gaps in our, I call it emotional literacy of expression. And we do not develop that. This is most probably we are having so many people with the very quick, fixed responses, even on how are you, the conversation, short interaction, reaction. When leader is creating some stressful situation, people most of the time are reacting emotionally, either with a cry or with anger, but still it is emotionally driven. And from the organizational perspective, organization is represented by leaders. There is someone sitting on the top. It will be one person, it will be a board of people. And what I have noticed, there is a tendency of creating plenty of initiatives that are often duplicated within the organization because there is no collectively collaboration through the organization. They are announced, and this is the end of implementation of well-being programs. There might be some, I don't know, after work, happy hour, going out, common Monday's breakfast, some gifts, celebration of birthday of employees. I am not really a fan of it. I would prefer that leaders are sharing the knowledge with people, that not only strengthening people from the personal perspective, but also anchoring elements of knowledge that they can grow with also healthy assertiveness, psychological strengths, and conceptual knowledge. Who am I in that team? And also, how can I build my psychological boundaries so that emotions are not primary element that I am hang on, but I am driven by rationale, supported by knowledge that leader gave me.
Yeah.
So that's, in a short way, that would be my perspective. I always say there are no one person, no one side responsible. There will be always both sides. Yeah, like we are having this old saying, for tango we need two.
Yeah.
So I don't
And
know.
yeah,
We were
no,
having-
you make a very good point, because it's, yes, you know, the happy hours, you know, getting together, doing breakfast and little gifts. It's showing appreciation on a sub level. But when you empower your employees with the knowledge and the tools and the things that they need, and showing your appreciation in a more concrete way, it's more empowering than showing them, you know, on that subpar level of, well, let's go out for happy hour, let's do a team building. It's nice, and it's I feel that it's also necessary, but when you empower your employees with the tools and the knowledge and the things that they need to fulfill their jobs, and to fill their jobs at a quality level, and empowering the employees, I think that's just as important.
Absolutely agree.
This is very interesting. I want to add something. I think this is something that I've noticed. It's very different from country to country and culture to culture. I understand that it's very, in the United States, it's a bit different, let's say, than in Israel, where I am. Here, it's very encouraged to do all of these things, like working from home. It became absolutely a thing. And it's a very convenient thing because people combine working from home nowadays with going hybrid. We call it hybrid working. So sometimes we go into the office and sometimes we stay home. And as long as we are productive, this works. This still works. So it's not that you're completely disconnected from the entire office environment and the workspace. You still go some of the week to the office. So not all workspaces work here in Israel, but it became more prevalent after COVID here that it's okay to work from home. I know that in the United States, I know that you really went back like 360, right? Like full back. You are going back to the office. You don't have any hybrids. You don't do any of those things. Am I right?
Yeah, there's still a little bit of hybrid, but companies are requiring their employees to go back. But for the
So,
most part, yeah, they're going back.
so I think it varies from literally from country to country and how the culture in the country is. I once worked for a company here in Israel. Well, it was an alcohol company, but it was acceptable to go for lunch in the bar that we had, have one, and go back to work. So it varies, it differs. It really depends on the work in my environment and culture. But in the high-tech companies that we have here in Israel, it's literally a playground with employees in them. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
also want to point out, because I'm in Europe, and I believe Magdalena is also. And here we have paid vacation, we have time out, we have families privileged. I think family time is privileged here that we don't see sometimes in America. At least that's what we hear as well.
This is very interesting.
Yeah,
I
so
love this aspect. Yes, because this is
yeah,
actually but very much contributes to feeling appreciated and wanting to grow within the company. Absolutely. So this
yeah,
is like very interesting to understand how does that work in Belgium and how does it work in the United States and to compare in Israel and to compare.
yeah,
I love this. So with
exactly.
us, yeah, we
Yeah,
also have paid vacation. We have paid maternity leave
so do
for
we.
6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. We are fighting to get more, but we have more crucial fights to go through. Uh, so we also have paid sick days. So we have like certain amount paid of sick days. If your kid gets sick, you get to get time off. We have like, yeah, it's like a semi-social country. So we do have a lot of perks on that. So a lot of the companies that give out to the employees. This is very
Yeah.
important to thrive, to want to stay into the company and thrive in it.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to point out, I love everything that you're saying, but when I started working, I was 21 or 22, and what I was taught is that work is not fun. Nobody loves going to work. We just have to do it. You need to get the money. You need to get paid to pay your bills, and that's
I was
just the
done.
way it is. No, there's no time to talk about mental health. It wasn't even a thing. Nobody knew it was, we could complain, knew we could. So it's all very interesting, but and I feel that it was very quick to go from that, because that's still my parents' mentality. Work's not fun. Nobody loves work, but you have to do it anyway. Full stop. And
I
I
can
feel that
disagree with that.
now we're like,
I love my work. I love my job. But because this is the life that I created for myself, I can understand the point of view of someone like your parents because they went through a different life system, and we are more able to change our lives. I
yes,
think
it's
we
more
have more options
acceptable.
to change our lives.
And it's more acceptable, I think. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I see it, because again, even culturally, my parents do not understand that my kids, my adult children, they don't I agree with what I have to, just because. No, that's not a thing anymore. I'm not doing that. Like, I'd rather do nothing and be happy than do something I'm not passionate about. What?
I agree with that.
Yeah. So
And
this is
here
where
I
we
have
are.
so here I will, just to keep the balance, I will a
Yes.
little bit disagree with that.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of this attitude, and it is also quite often visible that young people today are coming from the, let's say, privileged of times position, and I'm expecting from you to give me 1, 2, 3. I remember, and it's even actually not
Oh,
just
but it's not
now. I
about
remember,
expecting anyone to give me anything. Everything I have, I worked hard to get. Like
No,
no one
no,
gave
no,
me
I'm
anything ever.
It's the
absolutely.
extremes. We're talking about the extremes.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's at the end when we are in the work, we are not in the position to put conditions, I believe. And I remember many years ago, I was running an interview for the admin person, executive admin person, and the expectations for salary were like for 5 years experienced employee. And I said, oh, but apart from the fact that you have lied that you know how to speak English, you don't, because you suddenly don't remember, you would need to refresh, you have no experience. And the response was, yes, but I just finished my master. Said, I'm sorry, but that's not enough. You have no knowledge that is beneficial for me in the office.
Exactly.
So
That's true.
there's this position that young people sometimes are taking. It's actually risky, and we hear the statistics of non-employment among students, young people up to 30 years old, with even 3 degrees, they are having no work. And when we were starting, like you said, Sarah, okay, the perspective for work was to be able to pay for bills, but also, let's not hide it, it was runaway for the independency, to understand the life, right? So when we are living with parents, we don't see the reality. We are just seeing a very comfortable, warm, cozy house. But going to work as okay, from my perspective, I started from the administration, so it was receptionist, secretary when I was just 18, 19, the basic work. But this is also experience, apart from the money earned, of course, but it's experience that always, it's a kind of brick that is adding to enormous wall that grows by age, by time, and with every day of your working life is giving better value to the way how you are behaving, you are acting, how you treat people as well. Like, if you don't mind, we are having quite often around the leadership. Leadership is not a title. Do not use your title as a power in a negative manner. And that will be a lot of cases where with this kind of attitude, people are positioned on leadership role or managerial role, and then they treat people with disrespect.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree.
So for our audience that's listening, what are some tips or advice that you can give them in dealing with mental health in their work life environment? If they're having issues, concerns, what advice do you have for them?
I think, yes, I wanted to ask Tammy to go ahead based on our previous conversations. Yeah.
Thank you. So for me, it's about really depends what is the work environment, because the way you approach the issue really depends on where do you stand. Is it okay to go out and have a real conversation if an issue comes out? Is it something that you send via email and go through HR and all of these processes? Or is it a real conversation you can have with a real human if an issue comes up? For me, it's important to have the human factor very much involved in all of these issues. Having a real person take care of the problems that come up. Having real communication with one another. So this is how we approach the issue here. So it really depends on what kind of open communication channels you have inside your organization.
For me, nothing replace walk around. Walk around, physical contact with people in terms of not touching, but I'm standing in front of you. I'm coming to your desk awareness, what kind of tasks I am distributing among the team. This kind of level of attention will create naturally different quality of communication, because there will be interest addressed to people. So within that will start, I would say, it will start with maturity of the leader. Because like Tammy mentioned about email sending, how often we are sending unnecessary emails that can be replaced so simple by walking around 2 meters outside your office and, hey guys, can we just come together for 5 minutes and discuss this 1, 2, 3? That's already different dynamic. Also break for people from their routine sitting in front of the desk. So the little bit refreshment for minds. And what I fell in love as well in this work, walking meetings. We had a beautiful opportunity. Sometimes even we were taking Uber when we wanted to go for other place to change the scenery. But we were making like either work project focus meeting or weekly team meetings. We were just planning according to the time, and we were walking or going to park or sit on the grass. We were having some blanket purposefully brought to work, and that was so different. Or simply walking around. So, okay, we made 5,000 steps. We are going back to office. And within the walk, we discussed not only what we wanted to focus on, but extra other things, including, it's different level of bonding as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, no,
somewhere
absolutely.
between lines, you are sharing some personal insights, right? And then you are learning about your employees, and they are more free outside. They are more free to tell you, oh, Magdalena, but I would do it like that. Oh, be careful, car is coming. No, it's just beauty, and
Yeah.
I love that.
And if I
And
can add, knowing the person you're dealing with, knowing like every one of us have different types of how we like to handle different situations. Like if the walk is not something that I'm into, that's good. Just understand that and have an open channel of communication with one another. It's nothing against the walk or anything. It's just not the way some people might process the way why they want to handle things. So it's okay. It's completely okay to convey the feeling that it's okay. We need to, the sense is it needs to be done on a daily basis, and it's daily work for the leadership team to give the employees the sense that it's okay, and that as long as the work gets done, we are productive. No one is going to nitpick you here if you're, I don't know, picking up the phone or taking a selfie. It's fine. Work gets done. We are moving forward. So this is the approach that I'm coming from. And so this is why we are yin and yang, Magdalena.
yeah.
Yes, oh, definitely.
And I appreciate those points of view. And I mean, I can speak for when I was in corporate. I would go out on walks. I'd take my employees out to lunch, take them away and have coffee, and just kind of in a more relaxed atmosphere and a one-on-one. But I can speak for myself as well. When I had interactions with my management and my leadership, there's a sense of weakness and a sense of vulnerability when you talk about, I'm stressed, I've got too much work, I can't finish the project that I'm on. Really speaking your truth of how you're feeling in order to achieve that work-life balance. And I guess that's where I'm looking for advice to give our listeners when they are feeling like that. It's it's a tough situation to be in. And especially, Tammy and I, we spoke a little bit about this, the boys club. I've been in situations where there's the boys club. And here I am as the only female, and there's a lot of vulnerability when you say to your leadership, I can't do this, or I'm not sure how to proceed, or I'm feeling stressed.
I understand that. I understand that. And this is something that I see over here too. This is something that I experienced. We talked about this in Israel too, the boys club. Surviving that. I mean, if you survive that, there's nothing you can't survive, right?
But that's where, like,
So
what advice do you have in situations like that? And I know we're
what
talking
I've
like, you
learned,
know, different cultures as well, so you have to take that into perspective.
so this is really good. And I love this because what I've learned that bothered me in those boys club jobs, I took that and implemented the other way when I went to business and into leadership positions. So if there was no clarity, I made sure I had clarity with my team because I had lack of clarity in my previous job and I didn't like it. I didn't like it when they were talking with themselves and making plans or arranging stuff. And I'm like, okay, like, hello. No, clarity. Everyone is on everything. One more thing that I did is short sprints, breaking down the mess of the work into short sprints. So if you do like a very short sprint and set a goal for like 2 weeks, not for too long, 2 weeks, set a goal for the entire team to achieve, and every day you have a meeting and report to each other how you've made progress, we will get at least 85% done by the end of those 2 weeks, right? At least. So
Yeah.
all of the things that I've been missing in all of these places that I've worked with and I've had issues with, I actually reverse engineered them to implement those into my company. So I would feel comfortable. First of all, selfish. So I would feel comfortable being around everyone. So everyone will feel comfortable being around me.
Right.
So this
Yeah.
is
And it's
me.
it's
So
how the
this is
leadership
only
shows
me.
up. Yeah. No, it's all about how your leadership shows up. So, well, any final thoughts? This was a really great conversation. Really appreciate it. Sarah, anything you want to ask?
No, oh no, the word you just used, life balance, I think it's overrated. I do not subscribe work balance because uh, we're going to have, we have these conversations as well. And in the workplace, it's the same. When work is going really, really great and you're striving there, maybe, you're struggling a little bit at home. And when you're really good at home, your work is suffering a little bit. And I think it's part of being human. It's part of the experience. So yeah, I really appreciate knowing, a little bit how you go about all of this, which is always interesting to me. So thank you so much for the conversation. I mean, we need to have more of these conversations. That's how I feel. We don't talk
Absolutely.
about it enough.
But from different
Absolutely.
perspectives.
Yeah.
Because we are continuously hearing, like you said, work-life balance is overrated. And you don't need anything more than just if you are having in your labor law, the office work is from 9 to 5, people should leave at 5. Story
Yes.
over. Don't
Yes.
keep them till 9 p.m. Don't call them at 12 a.m.
Yeah.
Just keep the rules alive, and people will have naturally ability for keeping this balance between work and life.
And I think
if you
that's what the difference is in the US, because I was 24/7. So that's where, yes, I use the word work-life balance because I did not have the ability to have a home life. I was on 24/7. I was on vacation and had to answer emails
yes,
and, bring my computer with me because I had patients on the other end that needed me. And if I
yes,
wasn't there for the patient, they weren't getting their drug. I had no
yes,
one to
Oh,
delegate to.
wow.
I had no
Oh,
one to
I have to
delegate to.
say
So,
something. I'm
So,
sorry for
but I
interrupting
think
you.
no, but I think that's the difference is the different cultures that we're in. Where in the US, it's expected of you. It's expected on a Sunday night, you get a phone call from your boss, you answer it.
I think
Europe,
it's
Yeah.
also,
Maybe not
I'm sorry.
anymore.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's also the area you work in, you know. I mean, if
The
you're a
industry.
doctor, of course you know that a lot of that comes with the job. I'm sorry, but it does, and you just know it. And uh, if you are a lawyer, but if you are a teacher, you know that's not coming with the territory. You know, it just depends on the areas, and I think that we're actually called to the area we work on, and I think ultimately it's okay. And it's not that, I don't think it's only in the States. I think, I mean, we have bosses that don't behave here as well, you know, that don't follow the rules. And we have a lot of employees that do not follow the rules either. And then there's this, how do we go about it? And that's why I think there needs to be the conversation, because all of the parties need to say what they don't agree with, or what they agree with, or how it could be changed or different. That's like where I was coming from.
Definitely. And as you said, Sarah, like referring to Norma, the industry will also define the standards of work, and most probably in the long run, approaches and what are the practices between the employees, leader, management team are established. But still, wherever we are, kindness doesn't cost, right?
Right.
Yeah.
A good intention to definitely be a leader rather than let a bad ego take over the sphere. And just for the final word, for the previous, what you Norma asked about how to deal with the situation to avoid overwhelming work. That Tammy was also sharing about being present and so on. I have just two advices for leaders to make sure that they are having really nicely designed onboarding process, because it's very crucial. Onboarding process is a key moment. Either you get engagement of employee or you lose it. And within that onboarding process, also you will present what kind of vision a leader has for that particular person to play within that role. And for the employee, what's your purpose? You take that job, so that you will not lose it, but keep focused. What's the purpose? What change you want to deliver within that team, within the organization? And even if there are some little discomfortable, not comfortable situations or interactions with other people, stay above, react in a rational way, and remember what is your purpose you play in that role.
And setting boundaries also helps.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm a big proponent of setting boundaries. Well, I think that was a great point to end our conversation. I think we're all very passionate about this, and we can probably go on for a couple more hours and just speaking about this. So want to thank you both so much for coming on today and speaking with us, and really supporting the people out there when it comes to mental health, and especially mental health in the workspace. So thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. And we hope that we will see you and your audience, your community that is watching, especially this episode, join us 8th, 10th October. It's daily 2 hours, but the knowledge you need to hear and skills that you need to learn.
Amazing.
And send us the website, and we'll post it with this video as well.
Yes.
Thank you very
Well,
much, ladies.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for this conversation. Very enlightening.
It was very good. Thank you.
Thank you.